Good morning from sunny Tenerife. We've picked a good one because today we are going somewhere off the touristy track, and that is Anaga Forest in the northeast of the island. It's rarely explored by tourists because, well, there's so much to do in the warmer areas with guaranteed good weather, but this is a laurel forest. There aren't many of them in Europe, and it is home to the largest number of endemic species in the whole of Europe. It's lush, it's green, it's mountainous, it's a subtropical kind of forest, and we're going on the best possible tool for the job. And no, I'm not talking about my Bonneville, but the black beast in front of it. Right, I won't be enjoying this. Must drink as quickly as possible. Too excited. This is what adventure biking is all about. That sense of adventure. I cannot tell you how happy I am just to spend the whole day in the saddle today, because this is what it's all about. We're going to be in the saddle for, my guess, 7 hours or something. Monika looks petrified. I cannot tell you how excited I am. Wolf these down. I'm going to walk you around very quickly a few bits of the Pan America because I went on a huge ride yesterday. I know it back to front now. Right, before we head off, I now know this bike fairly well because yesterday I went on, it was meant to be a half-hour ride, it's about a 2-hour ride. I've just never witnessed comfort like it on any motorcycle. I just couldn't stop. I could have ridden for 6 hours, and I now know the bike pretty well. I also now know why, if you ever go onto eBay or Auto Trader, all of the gigantic mileage bikes are either sports tourers or predominantly adventure bikes, and I see why. The level of comfort, it's almost car-like comfort. It is incredible. No wind buffeting, warm hands. I just couldn't believe it. It's a revelation for me, but I know it well, the bike. So, a few things I found interesting. Number one, adjustable seat height. You can stay there, Monika, actually. So, all I do, put the key in the side there, that lifts off, super easy. This is me at 6'1" on the lower seat height. Look at the bend in my legs there. I like this one actually, the lower seat height. The raised seat height, very easy. Take the seat off, use that notch, and there are 2 notches here like that. I'll put it in the higher one. There. Raised seat height. There. I hope it shows up on camera because that is a noticeable difference actually. I always like lower seat heights, so I'll put it on the lower one, there, lower seat height, and that's easy to put back on. And just here, Monika, storage. So that's what you get. Fit a phone, keys, wallet, and maybe even a chocky bar if you want some chocolate. Okay, so that's that done. I was looking yesterday, where's the USB? Where can I charge my phone? This is an adventure bike. There must be somewhere, there must be a USB port. Couldn't find it anywhere. Went onto forums, couldn't find it anywhere. This is an adventure bike, and someone tell me if I'm wrong, and I will apologize in the next video if I'm wrong. This does not have a USB port. This is an adventure bike where you can't charge your phone. So you go on an adventure, you're exploring, and there's no way to charge your phone. I think that's a disgrace, actually, personally. A motorbike without a USB, especially an adventure bike without a USB port, I think it's a disgrace. But if I'm wrong and it is somewhere and I haven't found it, let me know. I'll apologize in the next video. But as far as I know, nothing. I don't think that's good enough for an adventure bike. But never mind. Come here. This is yesterday, for a bit of consumer kind of insight here, this is Harley Davidson's lowered suspension there. I've just been lowered. This is the dash, and because I can't put my quad lock on here as I usually do for sat-nav because I can't charge it, I downloaded the Harley Davidson app. So hopefully this will sort me out for sat-nav. So here we go, here's the app. If I go to ride, where to? Taganana, here we go. So take me there. I've put on take me there, finding routes. Here we go, 1 hour, 22 minutes, start. Let's ride. Okay, that's the sat-nav on there. Now I need to get it on here. So I press this button, here, enter, let's ride. Yeah, there we go, it's just set up. Okay, that's fine. I think that works fine. That will be good. I mean, look, here's the thing with this. Here's the thing with all sat-navs. It doesn't matter if it's my parents' 3 Series Beamer, where they got a sat-nav included. It doesn't matter if it's a brand new Mercedes or an Africa Twin. Great, they've got a sat-nav. The fact is, in 6 years' time, this is going to look dated, and I can already tell it's not as good as Google Maps. So my personal thoughts on any sat-nav for anything, there's never anything better than your phone. Your phone is always the most up-to-date technology, so fine, it's got sat-nav. I just more easily use my phone, but it's got it, that's great. There's one negative I found with this. Final thing before we go. Monika, if you come here, and this happened, this is really evident immediately. I was going around Santa Cruz, the capital. When I've got the clutch engaged, there, I can barely, I know it looks like it, I can barely move the indicator left. It's a huge, this is too far away, the indicator. It needs to be about here. I've never witnessed it on a bike before. The indicator is too far away when you're compressing the clutch and trying to indicate left. That's fine for pushing it, but pulling it, I can't get to it. Like, I actually have to take my hand off the clutch. So for me, that's actually quite a poor design fault. But in general, do I love the bike? Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll get into it a bit more later, but I was riding yesterday and I said it was like riding heaven. It's so nice. But let's get onto it. Let's hit the road. We had to stop here because UNESCO named this area, Anaga Park, as a World Biosphere Reserve. I think that's right, basically because it's so important and rich in different species of plants, and just the nature around is so incredible. I've never seen anything like it. We have to show you here because we've reached the top of the point we're going to, and we're now heading back down to the northern side of the island. And it's one of the most breathtakingly stunning, incredible riding roads I've ever been on in my life. It is that unbelievable. This is a playground for petrol heads. It's almost scary and daunting looking at it. We've snaked all the way right from the sea, about half an hour, all around the road here where you can see the cars around there, around that side of the mountain, popping up there, snaking around here. It's solid concentration, and it is ecstasy. Feel lucky to be alive with scenery like this. We're quite away from the touristy areas now, and down here is where we're heading, the proper north side of Tenerife here. That is, I think, Taganana down there. And there are beaches along here. You can't see them from here, but we think there are nice sandy beaches or black sand beaches down here. But the turquoise color of the sea that gives way to deep blue as it goes out into the ocean. You just feel amazing on days like today. It's so spectacular. spectacular. Okay, Monika is too scared of all of the lizards, but I have to take you this way because I was reading up on this location. Apparently there's quite a bloody battle between the Spanish and the locals, the Guanches, who used to live here before the Spanish conquest. Quite a bloody battle, and the Guanches, the original people who lived here, they used to farm and have animals and things like that in these hills, in these forests. And then the Spanish settlers came, and they also had hills. They had hills. They also had farm and animals and stuff like that. And they did say there are still signs of these old farms from hundreds of years ago. And I think I may have spotted one. Right here in the hillside, you can see it very clearly. The staggered kind of different bits of farmyard up there. And then on the side here, this clear area. So I'll take my hand out of the way because it keeps refocusing. That to me, that looks like a really old, kind of leveled out, stepped area of farmland. I'll zoom in a bit. Well, I think it's fascinating because that is not a million miles off a sheer cliff face going up to the top there. Incredibly harsh landscape to farm on, but definitely something, maybe it was hundreds of years ago, but something was farming right there. Well, this is incredible. I've just noticed a whole load more. If I just pan over very slowly, you can see in certain areas the old indentations of what I guess would be hundreds of years old there. Farms where people would have grown, dotted all along the side. And I don't think anyone's grown anything there in some of them for a long, long time because they're just so out of the way, but you can see evidence of it everywhere. We made it. Dramatic, but one of the most spectacular locations that I've seen in Tenerife. Let's cross the road. That is breathtakingly stunning. Surfers in the water. I really hope the colour's shown because it's turquoise water and that dramatic cliff all the way along. Black sand, the volcanic sand, but spectacular. So there was a lot of wine growing in the region here, and you'll see a few stone buildings just dotted along the coast here, and that's where they used to sell the wine to passing merchants and sailors, for example, from England, who used to moor up their big ships out there and then row in to the beach here, buy a few barrels of wine, and then just push the barrels of wine back into the ocean and just push the floating barrels of wine into the ocean, get them back on the ship, back in the 17th and 18th century. right on the edge. These are the only buildings in the area. I think probably only a few of them people actually live in. The rest are cafes, then people live above them. Well, we've got absolute front row seats to the ocean. Incredible little spot. We've got, I think this is probably the most traditionally Canarian spread that we've got. Unfortunately, I'll be completely honest, we can't make the most of it because there's loads of delicious traditional Canarian food, and loads of people say go to Guanchichas, I think. And that's where they do delicious meats and fishes and stuff at the really local restaurants, but we're both vegetarian. So what we've got here, potatoes, mushrooms, and these are very Canarian. These are peppers with some bread, and I think these are some speciality sauces for Tenerife, but I know that they do brilliant fishes and meats. So if you come to places like this or Guanchichas, we'll try and show a few still. Of course, they've got a brilliant meat and fish selection as well to go on top of this. I think we've been sitting here for about an hour and a quarter now. It is such a nice relaxing spot, and it's so moody that it has a constant haze the whole way along the mountainside, all the way leading along the coast there, constantly. Do you know, sitting here now, just going to have our coffee and then we're going to head off. I've tried the sat-nav enough. It's nowhere near as good as Google Maps or Waze. It's just not as good. So I found myself turning off the maps on the Harley and just going back to Google, and that is my issue, not specifically with the Pan America, but whether it's a car or a motorbike. These sat-navs that they build onto them, they spend a lot of money, you know, researching, developing. There's no need. They're never as good as on your phone, never as good. So all of that system, just get rid of it and just use your phone and just have the clock and the dial and maybe a little nicely designed screen to show the heated grip element and stuff like that. But the whole sat-nav thing, for me, I don't get it. I'll never get on board with it, whether it's car or bike, but maybe that's just me, but for me, no. But anyway, rant over. Coffee, and then just head off and enjoy. Well, we've got a lot of riding to do, but just head off and enjoy it. Riding-wise, it's a dream. I feel like on that bike, like a riding god. It really is a sublime, superb bike. Gracias. It's a mind-blowingly superb bike, this bike. I can't wait to get back on it. The day that keeps on giving. Look at what's parked next to us. Astra GTE, late 90s. Goes without saying here in Tenerife. Absolutely immaculate showroom condition. What a beauty. What a beauty. I'm guessing it's a GT, it's debadged on the back, but just look at that. When was the last time you saw a Vauxhall Astra or Opel Astra in that condition? Well, it's time to wrap it up, mainly actually because Monika's phone or Monika's battery is about to die, so we need to wrap it up before it dies. Before I get on to a sum up of the bike, just imagine if you're Christopher Columbus or someone back 500 years ago exploring and you stumble across this You know, no buildings at all, completely unspoilt. I mean, it's pretty unspoilt at the moment, but there's something very, very magical about the north coast of Tenerife. It's very different to the touristy south. It's a magical part of the world, it really is. Okay, on to the bike. I think you rate the quality of a bike by how much confidence it gives you, as opposed to how powerful it is. So this is 150 horsepower, it's super powerful, yada, 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 yada. But the way, in my mind, you should rate a bike is the confidence it gives you when you attack a bend, how much speed you can bring into that bend, and just your overall ability to enjoy from left to right. And this bike, it gives me so much confidence. When I was riding up to the volcano yesterday without Monika, it was riding heaven. I got back and I did actually say to Monika, it's one of the best bikes I've ever ridden. It was absolute riding heaven. And that is a bit kind of, for me, a bombshell realization. Whether it's adventure bikes or the Pan America, I'm going to say it, this is the best bike I've ever ridden. And now I've got something in my mind to deal with. This bike is better in every single conceivable area to my Bonneville and almost every bike I've ever ridden. It's gives you more confidence, it's more powerful, it's more comfortable, it's more refined. Everything about it, everything tangible is better than my Bonneville or every bike I've ever ridden. So what do I do with that information, being a Triumph Bonneville owner? Do I sell up and buy this? Well, adventure bikes have never been the types of bikes that I would have, for example, on my wall. That would always be a classic cruiser, a Bonneville, a modern classic, something like that. So it's not the kind of bike, usually, that I would lust after. But after having ridden it, I completely get it. It changes your mind. For example, I look forward to riding on a Triumph Bonneville because of the emotion, the character, the heritage of it. I don't have the same feeling towards this, but what I do have is exactly the same level of excitement because of the quality of the bike, because I'm genuinely looking forward to ride the bike because it's such a good bike. So take away all of the looks that may not be exactly my cup of tea, and then you have everything you could ever dream of in a bike. So all I'm left with now is to decide, is it style over substance? Do I stick with modern classics or go with an adventure bike? Because this genre of bike is probably, and it's hard for me to say it being a modern classic rider, the most complete genre of motorcycle out there, the adventure bikes. I completely get it after that, and I would put my money where my mouth is for this bike. Would I actually sell the Bonneville for it? That's another question, because I love the Bonneville, I love the character of it so much, and I'm a sucker for the good looks of, well, my perceived good looks, the Bonneville's perceived good looks, the modern classic good looks. So I'm a bit torn, I'll be completely honest with you, but there we go. Let's just say it's the best motorcycle I have ever ridden. And if you're on the market for an adventure bike, I haven't ridden any others, but for me, this is an absolutely superb motorcycle. I cannot say more than that. It is astonishingly good. I was about to wrap it up there without wrapping it up. That's it. It's blown me away, this bike. I can't say enough good things about it. It's blown me away. I want to ride it all the time. Let's wrap it up here in this beautiful spot. Thank you so much for coming along with us today. There's actually so much to film today. We've run out of battery, but please do give the video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you in the next video on the Bonneville.